Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another exciting episode of Colney Talk Podcast, your buy-side breakdown show. I'm your host Alex. First-time listeners, glad to have you here. And to my returning guests, thank you for sticking with me. As always, I talk a bit about the Arsenal match and pick out my top 3 Arsenal players who shined and one odd player not good enough I get to call out. What did I watch? What a night of Champions League football I just witnessed. Our boys in red and white put on an absolute masterclass. I mean, raise your hand if you think this is what you expected the win to be like. I mean, thrashing Lisbon with a 5-1 win. There is no way, no how that I thought this was what it was going to be. Not based on the capabilities of the team, but just I came in with a lot of worry because this team, this Sporting team, we know the top man over there, you know, the kinds of things that he has done to so many other teams. And I was just really hoping that we wouldn't suffer the same fate. And boy, did we turn this on its head. So let me dive into how Arsenal absolutely busted from start to finish. Right off the kickoff, Arsenal came out of the blocks like a house on fire. The boys were clearly up for it. In fact, I'm not even sure what they might have talked about, you know, in the locker room or how they were just going to gear up for this match. I think there was a lot of pressure they put on themselves, you know, about this team, their record, the way they've played at home. In fact, it was a very huge task on what this team were going to do. And they came really busting out. I mean, it didn't take long for us to draw our first blood. I mean, just 7 minutes in, Martinelli tucked in away a peach of a cross from Jurriën Timber. Nice cross, by the way. Talk about setting the tone early. The question on my mind, let me just start there. Could Arsenal maintain this intensity? The answer that emphatically, like Kai Havertz doubled our lead on a 22-minute flash, finishing off a sublime move that Saka, that boy, that star boy, absolutely skinned the marker off before setting up the German for a tap-in. It was the kind of goal that makes you just shake your head and like, I mean, it's Saka. What else? You know, but that was Arsenal football. We were in that box. We were lethal. We were relentless. We were not going to let anything pass by. I mean, it felt like they wanted to correct some of those things that we've missed in previous games. But we weren't done. We were not done, folks. On the stroke of halftime, Big Gabby, like you know what towering monster he is, like a salmon to a power home, a header from Declan Rice's corner. The 3-0 up at the break, Sporting did not know what hit them. While they were shocked, I was shocked. Surprisingly shocked because we came out the storm. We came out busted. That first goal felt great. We've cracked this open. Now we got to do something and defend. 2-0 up. We did the same. And 3-0 at the break, I was worried. I was worried because I didn't want us to lose the steam that we had. I was worried that this was just going to be an open game because it felt open. The way we just sliced and diced them felt open. Now, you might be wondering, were there any other nervous moments? Honestly, there were a few of them. Sporting had one decent effort from Giovanni Canada. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name, but that forced David Raya into a smart save. But other than that, it was all Arsenal. Our boys were in complete control, dictating the tempo and running rings and rounds around this Portuguese side. That gave me a little bit more ease, how much they wanted to maintain this intensity, how much they made sure that this was how they wanted to finish off the first half, which they did. One fascinating aspect of our play was how we consistently pulled Sporting's defenders out of position. Ødegaard in particular, that captain violated the defense. He was operating brilliantly in half spaces, dragging markers with him and creating gaps for a forward to exploit. He froze these guys. He froze the defenders. It was another tactical masterclass from Ødegaard first, and then Tata for really getting these guys in the good formation and shape and game plan to execute, and they did not disappoint. That was a complete shutdown finish from these boys in the first half. And then we got into the second half. Now, as you've seen before, a 3-0 lead can sometimes lead to complacency. We lose our steam. It's natural, but it's not natural for Arsenal. And we know we cannot afford that. We can't tolerate that. And for a brief moment, it looked like Sporting might mount an unlikely comeback. Inacio pulled one back for the host just 2 minutes after the restart with a clever finish from a corner. It was a wake-up call, a good one, and for about 15 minutes, Sporting looked like they might make a game out of it. But here's where this Arsenal team showed their strength. Instead of retreating into the shell, defending, they stepped up a gear. The question was, how would Arsenal respond to this pressure? That answer came in form of Bukayo Saka again on his penalty in the 56th minute, like making sure that we closed this game out for real. Ødegaard was brought down in the box, and then Saka made no mistake from the spot, restoring our 3-0 cushion. And from that point on, it was a smooth sailing. Trossard came off the bench to add the cherry on top for our fifth goal, 8 minutes from the time. Trossard coming off the bench. Does that sound familiar? When he comes on and he scores and he does his thing. I mean, I'm not going to be worried with his facial expression or how he feels. He scored. He should take that. He should feel okay that that's what he is there for. That's how he's contributing. And that's the value that he brings. And it's always going to be his time. If there's going to be a situation where we need that extra spark off the bench, he's that guy. He's the first one on that list. And that's something to consider. It was a performance that showcased not just our attacking prowess, but our ability to weather a brief storm and even come out stronger. One of the most impressive aspects of our play was how we consistently destroyed Sporting's defensive shape. Our movement of the ball was superb, with players constantly interchanging positions and creating overloads in key areas. It left Sporting's defenders chasing shadows for much of the game. And on the right, I've said this before, it might feel like some growing pains of Timber, Saka, and Ødegaard combining with each other, but it felt like this was Ben White reincarnate. But I wouldn't take credit away from Timber. He is just equally as capable, if not more, and that right side did not lose a beat. He was so good in combining himself with Ødegaard and Saka, and they played brilliantly. Now, there are aspects of the game that we held on and did a lot of things, but the front players were on fire. I mean, I thought that we were going to do a lot of defending. We did, but twice more. But it looked like our defending was our attacking. And that attacking did not stop, even till the very last minute, even to the very last whistle. In fact, Trossard had a chance to score a second goal, but he just missed a final touch to really unleash that shot. But there is a lot of positives, and the players all around did not disappoint. Now, let me highlight my top 3 players from this 5-star show in this game. First off, Bukayo Saka. I mean, who else? Scored a crucial penalty to make it 4-1, provided a brilliant assist for Havertz's goal, consistently beating his man on the right flank. He also created so many chances with his dribbling and crossing, and I mean, his work rate, is that going to be denied in any way? Tracking back, helping defensively. Saka was simply unplayable tonight. His ability to beat defenders one-on-one, it's world class. That's what it is. And his decision making in the final third was spot on. He became the complete package in this game and a real talisman, as you know. In fact, there was no other way for him to get all the shine as being the man of the match, at least for me as well. Second player, Ødegaard, dictated the tempo of the game from midfield, dictated the press, the push. He piloted this whole game all through, made so many key passes to split Sporting's defense. I felt bad. I mean, even creating that penalty for the 4th goal, there is nothing that I found in Ødegaard's game that was anything different, but more of a wow moment. You know, finding the spaces in between the lines, the things that he was doing. I felt like Ødegaard has just gone up one more gear. So there's just so much to enjoy from his game. And I think that brilliance continues to shine with himself and Saka. When those two combine on a bright, sparkling day, there is just fireworks all through. And again, his leadership, organizing and encouraging the players in ways that we could have done all that was absolutely class. It was great. Now, Ødegaard pulling the strings all night is nothing new, but the ability to find space in very tight situations where the players are all close together is just reminiscent of great Dennis Beckham. I mean, Ødegaard is just that heartbeat, and it keeps the team at the level that we've not seen before, and it keeps taking them much further. And tonight he showed why he's just that engine all the way through. Third and final player. This was a tough one. Now you might say I'm biased, but I have my reasons, but I just had to give it to David Raya. Here are my reasons. Crucial saves, snatching all crosses within his airspace, made at least 3 goal line saves. Literally, he was the last man to stop Sporting from any kind of comeback. And he showed that great poise in front of a serious threat. So when you think about that, even if it was 5-3, 3-2, there was a lot from him that changed the outcome of that game. It's a lot that he did. Those saves, what would have been 5-3 to 5-1, right? And could have even given them much more oomph to really create a comeback and make it like a very, edgy game. But that was all him. So I give him a lot of credit, and he performed very well. And that's not an easy thing to play in that situation, in that environment. And not to mention those fireworks and everything that they used to intimidate him. And look at how he performed. So you got to understand why he's one of my top 3 players. And with all that, I have to give some shout out to Martinelli and Saliba. They played a heck of a game as well. I think you could easily swap out any player for the top 3, but these my top 3 players are definitely worth a shout out. So, there's a lot to enjoy from the players, and thankfully they all played very well. And so, no odd player today. It's always something I love to say on this pod where I have no player to call out. The players and the boys, they did the job. Played some savory football. Not going to lie, I was nervous. You heard me say earlier, I thought we had to endure way more shots than we actually got. And that says a lot about Sporting, but also how much we defended, how much we made sure we didn't give them that room to grow and do a lot more damage. Sure, we did have a few shots here and there. Sure, we had some saves and, the posts helping us out, but we limited that. And his top man, Saliba, doing a lot of that. There's a lot of kudos all around, so they did perform well. This was a statement performance from Arsenal in this Champions League. We've now moved up to 7th in the revamped league table ahead of Sporting on goal difference. It's our biggest away win in Champions League since 2003. Can you believe that? And it definitely sends a clear message to the rest of Europe. The way we dominated possession, created chances at will, and responded to the brief threat of a comeback shows the quality of the side, especially in this tournament. Arteta must be really delighted how his tactics were executed, particularly the way we exploited those half spaces, courtesy of Ødegaard and Havertz, and breaking them down. I mean, Sporting's defensive structure just felt like they didn't look like the team that many have feared. So a lot of kudos to the team. This would definitely boost the team's confidence heading into the weekend. It will be a tough one, but no doubt there's a lot for them to look at and be proud. So, that's who we are. And besides, when has that stopped Arsenal from what's ahead of them? Let's bask in this fantastic win. It's performances like this that remind a lot of people of our identity. Playing this kind of football is what reminds people of who and what Arsenal is about. All right, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, if you enjoyed today's episode, like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow Gunners. Until next time, take care and goodbye.